So what is linear interpolation? So let's just break apart these two terms. Linear interpolation is linear, one term, and interpolation, another term. So interpolation really means that we are finding new data between two given points. So it's inter or between two points. That means that we are finding a new point between two given points. Why is it a linear interpolation? It's because we assume that the two given points or two known points are joined using a straight line. So linear interpolation altogether becomes that we are trying to find a point using two given points that can be joined using a straight line, and the point that we will find will be between the given points, not any point external to it. So if it's external, it becomes extrapolation, but right now we're just doing points between two given points. So linear interpolation is a method of constructing new data points between two existing data points, assuming that there is a straight line that joins those 2 points. Also, if you're familiar with straight lines, I guess you will understand the term slope or the rate of change in y with respect to x. But even if you are not familiar with this terminology, just remember that in linear interpolation we assume that any change in x or is proportional to the change in y. So let's take an example to make sense out of all this. So in example number 2, we found the value of the writing lever for a given degree, that is 35 degrees. Now the table that was given to us did not contain that point, so we had to find that point using the graph. Now sometimes it's not really feasible to graph this table, or the table is too large, or just graphing, as you have seen, takes a lot of time. So if you're just interested in finding a point, it's best just to use linear interpolation. So it's in the table we were given values for the writing levers for 30 and 40 degrees of heel. So to find, so since 35 lies between 30 and 40, we'll pick these 2 points for interpolation. I mean, you could use 20 and 50, 10 and 80, whichever, but it gives you the best result if you pick the closest 2 points, which in this case is 30 and 40. So in linear interpolation, change in x over change in y is always said to be constant. So what is x here? That's our heel, or the angle of inclination. So there are 2 changes that are happening here. Now let me just show you what's going on. So so we know the value for 30, the writing lever is 0.92, and the value for 40 is 1.079. Somewhere in between lies 35. So the difference between 35 and 30 is proportional to the difference between the unknown writing lever, let's say that's C, and the known writing lever, that is 0.92. So if we set it up like 35 minus 30 divided by C minus 0.92, this will be equal to 40 minus 30, that is the change in x again, divided by change in y, or the writing levers, 1.07 minus 0.92. So if we do the simplifications, we get 5 over c minus 0.92 equals 10 over 0.15. Now we can use cross multiplication, and we can do that because there is a one ratio equal to another ratio. There's nothing else in the equation. So Cross multiplying, we get 5 times 0.15 equals 10 times c minus 0.92. And let's just simplify it using all the algebra that we have learned in our earlier modules. So 0.75 equals 10c minus 9.2, 0.75 plus 9.2 equals 10c, and 9.95 equals 10c. So c equals 9.95 divided by 10, which is 0.995, which is approximately equal to 1, and it's kind of equal to what we had in example 2, looking at the graph. Now, to simplify this whole process, what we do is we use something just set it up in a different way. Now look at this picture. We have the differences are written now, and it's very clear what we are looking for. When you're writing proportionality, you're always going in one direction. So from the inner box to the outer one. So 5:10 equals c ratio 0.15. And just do the cross multiplication with multiplication principle and find c. Now the c that we find in this case is different from what we had in the first case. In that case it was the real number. In this case it's the difference between 0.92 and the new value. Now if you look at the pattern, the values of writing levers are increasing from 30 to 40. So to find the value for 35, we will add c, which is 0.075 to 0.92 to find the new writing lever for 35 degrees of heel. And if we do that, you can see that you get the same answer that we had earlier, 0.995, approximately equal to 1 as the writing lever. So this is just an overview of what linear interpolation is. It's really easy, and with a few more examples you'll get more understanding of it.